released a heavily redacted email, the one that was declassified back in March. That release comes a day after President Trump demanded that his administration release Obamagate documents to the public with no redactions. The email, take a look at this. The email was written May 10th, 2017 by National Security Council analyst Eric Ciaramella. It was cited in a footnote, by the way, in Robert Mueller's special counsel report. That footnote covered an Oval Office meeting between President Trump and Russian officials that occurred on May 10th, 2017. Ciaramella's email was sent days before the New York Times reported that President Trump had called fired FBI Director James Comey a nut job during that May 10th meeting. The New York Times story, was it based on the Ciaramella email? We won't know unless we see the email in full, and if that is what constitutes, under the definition of the deep state, unredacted, I don't think that's going to be acceptable. We may have to live with it, but it's not acceptable. Breaking news now. A federal appellate court has reversed a lower court decision that grants a new trial in the fraud case involving Hunter Biden's ex-business partner, Devon Archer. Hunter Biden was not charged in the scheme, but Biden's name was reportedly invoked at a number of various stages. Archer was indicted on March 26, 2018, and charged with conspiracy to commit securities fraud and securities fraud for a Native American tribal bond scheme. Our first guest tonight just broke that story, and joining us is Just the News editor-in-chief and founder John Solomon, author of the book Fallout: Nuclear Bribes, Russian Spies, and the Washington Lies that Enriched the Clinton and Biden Dynasties. This breaking news that the case is on again against the business partner of Hunter Biden, its import and what you can make of it.
Well, there's two lessons here. One is for activist judges, right? The judge in this case set aside a jury verdict. Devon Archer was convicted by a jury of peers, and a judge, out of in their own opinion, came up with a different theory of the case and got rid of his guilty conviction. If you're Emmett Sullivan, you might want to look at this ruling. He's the judge in the Flynn case. He seems to have his own theories. He's not listening to the Justice Department. Same thing here. So what do we know? It means Hunter Biden was in business at the time his father was vice president with a convicted felon. He was also in business with a Ukrainian oligarch who was corrupt. He was also taking money from a Russian oligarch, $3.5 million on one day alone. And Joe Biden keeps telling the American public, there's no there. It's all been debunked. Well, guess what? Your son was in business with a convicted felon. Your son was in business with a corrupt oligarch. Your son was getting money from Russian oligarchs. No matter how much the media tries to call this a conspiracy theory, it is all fact.
It is all fact, and the moderator in the debate who asked the question and had that answer about Hunter Biden after the question was asked, not by the moderator, did not follow up and correct the record at all. I haven't seen a correction, by the way, of of the former vice president at all, even though he made a straightforward false statement. I would have expected better. I'm kidding. I was about to say I would have expected better from the national left-wing media. If anyone has any question about the stance of the left-wing media, corporate left-wing media in particular, the fact that only 2 of 26 analysts were Trump supporters across corporate media last night is astonishing, just in the brazen flaunting of their bias and their commitment to Joe Biden no matter what.
Yeah, listen, this is the problem. The media, the permanent bureaucracy, and the Democratic Party are all in cahoots together. And we've seen it in Russia, Ukraine, in the debate coverage. Pick any story any day, and you can see it. And it's why America's lucky to at least have Fox News. It's why I started Just the News. But listen, it's an imbalanced system right now, and reporters used to be neutral. they've given up any semblance of neutrality, and that's what's harming America most. We can get through all the other things that challenge us, COVID, threats from afar, but when we tear ourselves apart from within by being dishonest and lacking neutrality, that's when America starts to fall within. And that's why I'm most concerned about the next 10 years, why so much is at stake in the next 10 years of America.
Yeah. I'm worried about the next 20 days, to tell you the truth, John. This is not just a failure to preserve neutrality. This is a committed effort, again, to destroy a president's candidacy. And they were so successful with the 2018 midterm elections against the Republicans. They're pulling out all the stops now. Let's turn to, if we may, the president's order to his Justice Department, to his intelligence agencies, to turn over everything, all documents, declassify them, release them to the public, unredacted. The orders were clear. John Ratcliffe complied with an initial delivery to John Durham, who he said in a note he supported, which was a very odd thing to do, it seemed to me. The president was very clear. Unredacted, release of declassified Obamagate documents to the American public. And what do we get? We get this ridiculous email from Eric Ciaramella, fully redacted. This is the deep state telling the president, you're going to have to drive us right into the Potomac before we'll do what we're ordered to do. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right. I never thought I'd see a day where there would be willful disobedience of a presidential order, but you see it one day after the president gives the order. And who is doing the redactions? Somebody a few doors down from the president, the National Security Council. They're doing it in defiance of the president's orders. The FBI, they've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. Chris Wray has got the greatest rope-a-dope in American history going on in thwarting congressional oversight and media oversight of what went on. Gina Haspel at the CIA. And listen, I don't doubt any of their commitments to public service. I doubt their willingness to fight their own bureaucracies and follow the lawful instructions. You know what? They have to answer for themselves. I've been calling for transparency for 2 years. I fought to get a lot of these documents. I've sued to get a lot of these documents. The president should personally hold them accountable.
What's Robert O'Brien doing? What is he doing?
Yeah, I doubt it got to his level,
National
right?
Security
But once he saw this today, that's right. Listen, I doubt he did the redactions himself. He's a busy guy. He's doing some very important things. He just brought 2 ISIS terrorists to justice yesterday. But you know what? The second this happened this morning, he should have walked into the President of the United States and said, boss, by this afternoon, I'm going to get rid of all that black ink and release that document. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's still just as redacted as we went into the morning with.
Well, I'm sure Robert O'Brien doesn't consider his responsibilities and duties to be 9 to 5. I'm seriously questioning everything about Robert O'Brien right now, and I am seriously considering why so many people who have, at least publicly, taken a posture of support for the president now are defying him. And there is even a change in their wording and their tone and their public remarks. Those who, in point of fact, have been important in some of the declassifications and release to the public. There is a very different attitude right now after the president's order. Do you have a sense what motivates that change?
Listen, I could go tomorrow and show the president the 40 most important documents that would change the debate about Russia and Ukraine forever. The question is, can he get his own staff to release them? He knows what they are. I know what they are. Devin Nunes has said them on television. Lindsey Graham, Chuck Grassley, Ron Johnson. There are 40, 50 documents. That's all we need for the American public to get the truth. We've waited 3 years, and now we got less than 30 days. The president should just get the documents himself and put them out on Twitter. Let the American public be able to decide for themselves. Stop letting the permanent bureaucracy dictate American electoral politics.
Is it appropriate for the president to send the U.S. Marshals, or whatever the appropriate agency is, into those departments, to those agencies, and say clearly, here is the order, follow it or follow me?
Yeah, I think it's even simpler. Don't bother the marshals. They got busy work to do. Just have the documents delivered on my desk tomorrow unredacted. That's all the president has to do. It's over.
John Solomon, thank you very much, as always. Appreciate it. John Solomon, Just the News. Up next, Joe Biden fails once again to say if he will plan to pack the Supreme Court. White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah joins us right after these quick messages. Please stay with us.